Hello, everybody.
Hello, sir.
Okay, do we have everybody here?
Not yet.
Your Honor, we're still waiting on my client.
Okay.
And then Judge, I know Mr. Westmoreland has a personal matter to attend to, so we're gonna be as expeditious as possible.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf.
Your Honor, if you'll excuse me, I'll go contact my client to see if I can get her.
That'll be fine, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That may be her there. I think it is.
Okay.
It is.
Did you guys not decide on a reporter?
Your Honor, my court reporter is supposed to appear any moment.
Okay.
As far as that goes, and it was confirmed this morning, if for some reason she should not appear, I personally do not require a record. I don't know about other counsel, but.
Well, I normally like to have a record. We're talking about a minor who may have a cause of action down the road, and it'd be nice to know what we said here today. But,
I understand, and we did confirm they should be here any minute, Your Honor.
All right.
Okay, and Vicky, you'll want to take yourself off mute once we get going.
Okay, there we are. Good.
Hello.
Hi, Ms. Quarles. Can you hear us okay?
Yes,
Okay, very good.
I can hear you all just fine. Thank you.
Okay. Sometimes the court reporter requests to be the co-host doing these hearings via Zoom. Do you want me to make you the co-host, or does it make a difference to you?
No, it's fine. I don't need to be the co-host.
All right, very good. Okay, we'll get started.
All righty. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, let's go on the record. Okay, Mr. Steelwell wants to join us. You want to take your time to complete getting your tie on, Mr. Steelwell?
Good afternoon, Judge Hurdle.
How are you?
Nice calling you Judge. It's the first time to call you Judge.
Good. Okay, we'll start. I think we got everybody here. This is cause number DC 2102553. It's a matter styled as Vicky Malone individually and as next friend of BM, a minor, and Brianna Malone. The defendants are Carlisle, Jordan, Howard, and Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company. Will those of you who are present in the hearing please give your name and who you represent for the record?
My name is Mick Kennedy, here for the plaintiffs, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm Brad Westmoreland here for defendant Kaylee Jordan Howard.
I'm John Stillwell here on behalf of defendant Allstate.
I'm Marquette Wolf. I've been appointed as guardian ad litem for the minor plaintiff BM.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Kennedy, are you prepared to call your first witness?
Your Honor, we would call Vicky Malone.
Okay, Ms. Malone, can I get you to raise your right hand for me, please, so I can see it on the screen? Thank you very much. Ms. Malone, do you swear or affirm that the testimony and the information you're about to give is true and correct?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Mr. Kennedy.
Ms. Malone, will you please state your name for the record?
Vicky Marla Malone.
And are you the mother of Bria Malone?
Yes.
And were you and Bria involved in a car wreck back in March 9th of 2019?
Yes.
And as a result of the wreck, did you hire my law firm and the law firm of Houston Smith to help you with that matter?
Yes.
You understand that a lawsuit was filed on your behalf, your daughter's behalf, and at some point we reached a point where settlement was offered.
Yes.
And we've reviewed the settlement with you, and you understand that out of the total settlement, if the judge approves it, $3,521.70 will be apportioned for Bria and placed into the court's registry. Is that correct?
Yes.
You understand that that money is set aside for Bria. It's not my money. It's not your money. It's not the judge's. It'll be held for her.
Yes.
And you understand that out of the total settlement, a portion of that was used to pay for Bria's medical bills, which were reduced by us. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand that the money will be held in the court's registry until Bria turns 18. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand that out of the total settlement, attorney's fees and expenses were apportioned, correct?
Yes.
And you had a chance to review the breakdown of the money, and you agreed with the breakdown. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to visit with Mr. Wolf, the guardian ad litem who's appointed by the court, who reviewed the settlement and will make a recommendation to the judge on Bria's behalf? Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you understand that if the judge approves the settlement today, Bria's case is over forever?
Yes.
You understand that if the judge approves, no matter what happens, you can never again file a suit on Bria's behalf for the injury she received March 9th, 2019. Is that right?
Yes.
And you understand that by settling this case, if the judge approves it, that you are giving up your right to a jury trial. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand that had we gone to a jury trial, the jury might have awarded less, the same, or more. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you understand that it is the judge's decision today whether or not to approve this settlement?
Yes.
And do you believe, knowing everything you do about the wreck and Bria's well-being, that this settlement is in her best interest?
Yes.
And are you asking the judge to approve the settlement today?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Westmoreland.
Have any questions of this witness, Your Honor?
All right, Mr. Stillwell.
I just want to, so this is really more for the attorney. This settles the entire case of Vicki Malone individually. It's next friend of the minor against Miss Howard. Is that right? It's Kaylee Howard?
Correct.
Okay. And it's for a total of how much?
The total was $8,750.
So that, and the parent didn't have an individual claim other than the medical. Is that right?
She did, yes. That was a separate settlement.
Okay. And that settled for how much?
That was $45,000.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Wolf, you have any questions for this witness?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is, with the help of Ms. Malone, kind of fill the court in on the facts and the numbers of what happened. So, Ms. Malone, back on March 9, 2019, you were traveling on 635 LBJ Freeway when this accident occurred. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in the car, you were in the front passenger seat. Your older daughter was, Brenna, was driving, and in the back left side seat is where Bria was, correct, during the accident?
Left side, if you're, depending upon where you're looking, behind the driver.
Yeah.
Behind the driver.
And when the impact occurred, it was Mr. Shepard's vehicle crossed over into the HOV lane where it wasn't an entrance, and that's what hit your side of the vehicle. Is that correct?
The front of the vehicle hit that vehicle, and then a separate vehicle hit my side.
All right. And so your side of the vehicle received the larger impact, most of the damage, correct?
Correct.
And Brenna was in the back seat where it was less impacted in terms of the trauma to her in the accident, correct?
Bria.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Sorry, their names are
Bria and
similar.
Brenna. Right.
Yes, correct.
And initially, you sought treatment at Big Baylor in Dallas, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and Bria was found to have basically seatbelt injuries. She was bruised and abrased on her seatbelt, and they did a differential to make sure she didn't have a traumatic brain injury and found her to have basically neck strains and abrasions. Is that correct?
As best I can remember, yes. Her
They did it-
pediatrician may have said she may have had a small concussion, but
Right. And they were able to release her that evening, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, and then about a year later, the following March in 2020, Bria started a series of chiropractic adjustments. Is that correct? At Rockwall Chiropractic?
I don't believe it was a year later.
I have service dates from March 5th through May 26, 2021. So March 5th, 2020 through May 26, 2021. 21, yeah. Does that sound right?
I still don't believe it was a year later, but I don't have that information in front of me.
Okay, and I'm just basing this on the medical summaries from the chiropractor plus their billing records, and you don't have that in front of you?
I do not, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I know there were two separate billing
Series.
summaries from them. There's 2019 and 2020, if that
Okay.
clears it up a little bit.
That's right. There's 7 visits in 2019 and then 17 visits during 2020 into 2021. And her last visit, though, was on May 26, 2021. I'm sorry. Is that correct?
For the summary, probably.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I note on her last visit, it said she's released to return PRN or as needed. Is that your understanding?
Correct.
And my understanding from our phone calls back in November is she has not gone back for any other treatment. Is that correct?
Well, she goes in for maintenance visits periodically.
Okay. And is she doing okay now? How is she recovering?
Yes, she's doing well.
Okay. You and I had a conversation about the risks that Mr. Kennedy just outlined. You might get the same amount, you might get less, you might get nothing, you might get more, and all those things lay in front of you with litigation. You had said to me that you feel like a settlement is definitely the best as opposed to going forward to a trial. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And I reached out to just to check to see whether there was any investment option that was viable. The annuity option was not viable. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And so what that leaves us with as a practical matter is putting money into the registry of the court, and that would be $3,521 that would go into the court's bank, if you will. And you understand that will be there as her money when she turns 18.
Correct.
All right. And you and I discussed, should there be a need that you can't otherwise afford that comes up, say a chiropractic type scenario, you lose insurance, you understand you can come to the court and petition and show a need and show cause why Bria could benefit from this money, and you could seek to withdraw some of that for her benefit. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay. And you had 2 different law firms in this case, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Initially, that was Houston Smith, and then later Summerman, McCafferty, Casada, and Geisler. That's Mick Kennedy's firm, correct?
Correct.
And you understand that they're going to take fees from this settlement, a 1/3 fee, and they'll also deduct expenses in the amount of $38.38. You understand that?
Yes.
And you understand that there were a number of medical bills that were carried through and from this aggregate settlement. We're asking the court to approve a reduced amount of $2,276.17 to cover all of the medical, including radiology, chiropractic, and emergency care.
Yes,
In your opinion, based on all of these things put together, do you believe that this settlement as proposed is in the best interest of your daughter, Bria?
I do.
Do you believe that it would not be in her best interest to carry forward and go through with the trial?
I'm not sure if that's a double
Yeah, it
negative.
is a double.
I'm not
You-
sure the correct.
Let me ask it this way. You do not believe going forward to trial is in her best interest?
I do not believe that it would be in her best interest. Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll pass the witness.
Any further questions of this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Wolf, do you have a recommendation to the court?
I do, Judge. Looking at the amount of the settlement based on what I've seen in the medical records, this is fair and reasonable. I did look into, is there a possible investment opportunity? I talked with Bill Gamble at Sage. He said no. Fees, would just eat it up, and you would be a negative at this small of a number if you could find a company to write an annuity. So the registry of the court, I do recommend it go into the registry of the court on the off chance that a need arises that Ms. Malone and her family cannot meet for Bria. This gives them some flexibility there, but considering the wreck, the course of treatment, her recovery, the amount involved, and what is in her best interest according to her mother, I recommend that the court approve this settlement.
Thank you. Anything further from any of the parties?
No, Your Honor.
Hearing none, the court having heard testimony of the witnesses, having heard the recommendation of the court-appointed guardian ad litem, has opined that this proposed settlement is in the best interest of the minor, and the court will approve the judgment that has been submitted. Mr. Wolf, do you have a demand for guardian ad litem fees?
Yes, Your Honor. I did all the work some time back, and I believe that we have an agreement at $1,200. I've submitted a separate guardian ad litem fee order, which that asks that in lieu of payment to me, the check be paid to the order of the Aboda Foundation and delivered to my office. And I believe Mr. Westmoreland is agreeable to that.
I am agreeable to that, Your Honor. There is one issue with respect to the proposed final judgment that I'd like to bring to the court's attention.
Okay.
Mr. Kennedy noticed that there's a typo with respect to, I believe it's the payment that's to go to Baylor. Is that correct, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, that's correct.
And so he knows the numbers and can give you the correct number that should be there. We don't know if Your Honor just wants to scratch out what's in the proposed order and handwrite in the correct numbers, or if you prefer that my office modify that and file another proposed order for your signature.
Okay, I'm looking at the proposed order. I don't see the specific breakdown to Baylor. I see American Radiology, Rockwall, Century Integrated. The 1209.28.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That should be $403.09, Your Honor.
40309.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just make the correction on the proposed order that's been submitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay,
Good to see everybody. John, long time no see. Good to see you.
Sir.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and I'll get this order signed. It should be available with the court clerk this afternoon.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Y'all may be dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.